Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dirty Gaming and a new video on the channel, just going over my plans for the channel and me personally in the next few months. Apologies I haven't released a video for a while. I've kind of got totally bored of the current Path of Exile League, and I've been playing other games on my console and I don't have any streaming software to be able to capture the gameplay, and I've kind of just been jumping into different games here and there, so nothing really that interesting. What I wanted to do in this video is address a couple of things. Firstly, what I think of the reveal so far of Path of Exile 2, and then jump on to what my plans are for 3.25. We're obviously not going to go into like builds and things like that in great detail because, you know, lots of things are going to get shaken up hopefully in the patch notes. So if we start with Path of Exile 2, I'll be honest, Path of Exile 2 is a game I've been really worried about looking at all of the reveals that we've had so far. I really haven't enjoyed the look of the gameplay, the playstyle, and I know people were playing on specific builds and they weren't able to tweak things, but I really didn't enjoy the look of the game. However, the recent console couch co-op release that they did, where there's lots of footage coming out and we're getting some more in the next couple of days, looks really, really enjoyable. They seem to really have fine-tuned the balance between kind of difficulty, fun and progression, and even though it looks like the campaign is going to be absolutely mammoth, the game looks like a ton of fun, the graphics look really good, the sound is absolutely amazing, like the music, the sound effects, everything looks really on point. So I'm now actually really excited about the release in November. I don't really have any real concerns with the game at the moment because it's obviously going to be less zoom than Path of Exile, but I have no problem with that. My hands are starting to absolutely get shredded from playing these one button mega speed builds in POE. I'm looking forward to something that's maybe a bit more methodical where you can combine different skills and try lots of different things out. But say, I'm not part of any beta groups. I can't take time off work to go to events and things like that. So I won't be playing until November. And I'm quite excited about that. I'd like to just go in fresh, have no idea about any of the classes, skills, progression, tree and things like that, and just jump in afresh. So let's move away from Path of Exile 2. It's quite a way away. We'll move on to Path of Exile 1 and the next league, which is going to be 325. Obviously, we have no details about the league yet, other than it's going to launch in late July. When GGG say late July, it does normally mean the last weekend in July. So that's when I think the league is going to start. So we are a long way away from getting any news about the league at all, unless they decide that they are waning so bad for kind of anyone interested in the game. They might bring out a few teasers slightly earlier, but I doubt it. The reason I thought I'd bring a video out about my 3.25 plans is if Path of Exile 2 does have their early release launch in November, this will definitely be the last POE league before it launches. We're on a 4-month cycle at the moment, despite the fact they've said it's going to go back to 3 months. So realistically, the earliest they're going to be able to release a Path of Exile league is going to be late November. And there's no way they're going to release a league that clashes with their kind of new release for their new game. So I expect the next league to be at least 6 months, or it might even be a 4-month league. And then they bring something out like a 3-month legacy league or something different to keep people entertained that have no kind of inclination to play Path of Exile 2. So because we're going to have an extra long league, I don't want to burn out like I did last league. I got bored pretty early of the last league, and it was through a combination of things. The league mechanic, although I enjoyed the crafting, there is not anyone in the world that can say it was well implemented. It was such a grind. The UI was bad. Having to kind of store these corpses and craft stuff wasn't great. To me, T17s was an absolute disaster. Just overall, things just didn't work out the way it was planned, I think, and I didn't enjoy it at all for certain aspects. But I think the main reason I didn't enjoy it is because the game has become a little bit stale. They are making loads of cool changes for, like, you know, your extra Atlas trees, scarabs, whether you like the changes or not, T17 maps, again, whether you like the changes or not. But the core game hasn't changed for absolutely ages. You still have the Eater, Exarch, Void Stones. You've got Uber, Elder, and Maven, and I still don't agree the Void Stones should be locked behind those bosses. I think it would be nice to unlock your Atlas a bit earlier. But the main thing for me is skills haven't changed enough. There hasn't been enough interesting, exciting new skills or support gems. So basically what was meta last league is meta the next league, and it goes on and on and on until they kind of nerf a skill and then people don't play it. If we take Tornado Shot as an example, I'm pretty sure that skill is still playable. It's just not top tier and it needs more investment. I played Lightning Strike quite a lot this league. It worked absolutely fine. Is it as good as when it was kind of the meta skill? No, nowhere near, but it's still way more playable than a lot of other skills. But once you've played through these skills, you kind of don't want to go back on it because you feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And I do like certain archetypes. I don't really like spell-based builds. I like attack-based builds. Because melee is in such a bad place at the moment, that basically leaves me with kind of a shield throw type option or bows, which is why I play kind of the same builds all the time, because they're the archetypes that I like, and there's not many that work very well. What I'm really hoping and praying, but I don't think is going to happen, is they actually sort melee out, because I would love to play the build that I played last league, this league. I really, really enjoyed it. It's just, it is a bit of a slog, and the currency it takes to get it feeling really, really good is quite insane. I got it going at a cheap budget. I got it into decent endgame content. I did T17s and stuff like that. But the character is really well geared. And in other skills, you might be doing the same thing on a 10th of the budget. So, hoping and praying for either a melee rework or some new skills that actually look fun and interesting and do something different. Even if they steal stuff from POE 2 that they want to test before the game comes out, I'm all for that. I just want something different and fun to play. If there aren't any changes and a meta shakeup, I have got a build in mind, and it's LE hit of the spectrum on a raider using bows. It is not the best skill in the world. It is certainly not going to be meta, and it's not going to be pushing bosses very early. But I really enjoy the way the skill feels, and that's the way I'm going to approach 325. What is the skill I'm going to have the most fun playing, even if it takes me a week to clear my Atlas? And this is a skill I've settled on after playing around with a couple of skills. This league is going to be very, very long. I want to play it for as long as possible and not get bored. So I'm basically setting myself some goals. I'm going to pick a skill to play, and as I say, it's either going to be LE hit of the spectrum or it's going to be melee if they rework it. I'm going to do the lead mechanic in every single campaign zone without fail. I'm going to do it in every map without fail. I'm going to try and learn as much as I can about the lead mechanic early on. Now, this brings a lot of problems with it. Anyone that's played a lot of Path of Exile releases knows the lead mechanic is always overtuned. I don't know what sort of quality control they do. It feels like they put a fully decked out character into an Act 1 zone and say, yep, I'm trouncing everything. This is fine. So it's probably not going to be the most enjoyable experience, but I want to play the things that are new this league rather than I'm going to get through the acts in 5 hours. I'm going to push my Atlas the same boring way. I'm then going to farm red altars and essences. I don't want to do that because I've got no interest in just repeating what I've already done league after league. So yeah, first thing, league mechanic. If it's something you can do in every map and zone, I will. If it's something that you have to leave maps to do, like Tota, I'll do that as well. I want to set myself goals for maps as well. So I can't leave white maps until I've got at least 2 divines worth of chaos orbs. I can't leave yellow maps until I've got a 6 link, my character's well geared, and I've got at least 10 raw divines worth of either divines or chaos in my stash. And I can't kill Aegir and Exarch until I've got 20 divines worth of currency. This is not done for any particular reason other than I want to set a challenge, find different ways to earn currency in lower tier maps, and I want people to be able to play along. I feel like sometimes, and I'm not the only one guilty of it, you release content that is maybe only meant for people that are maybe the top 10 or 15% who play the game after day one. And I'd rather bring something out to show that you don't need to push to red maps on day one to make currency. There's a lot of misconception that you won't make money if you're too slow to maps. But the amount of times I've league started a week late and I've actually had a better league in terms of how quickly I've progressed, it's definitely not something you need to worry about. So there are going to be some more goals I'm going to set myself, but I'm going to pick those once I know what skill I want to play. We're obviously going to wait till patch notes until that happens. In terms of content, I don't think there's going to be much before the next league. I may do a fresh trade run on this LE hit character just to make sure it's viable, but I have played it through to yellow maps on my current account with just SSF type gear, and it's working really well. It's not the best build in the world. Bosses take a little while. But with a raider and your spell suppression, your evasion, and some decent defenses outside of fizz mitigation, I've not really had an issue. And with dying, and as I say, I do enjoy the playstyle of this skill. So if I don't decide to do another playthrough, there won't be any content until we're getting very close to 325. I haven't played Path of Exile 2. I haven't been invited to events. Even if I did, I'm not really in the position just to be able to drop my job, tell my wife I'm going away for a week to, play a game that I do part-time. So I'm never going to have any content on POE 2 until the game actually comes out. But when 325 launches, I'm hoping to have the usual release of content. a beginner farming tree, a build guide and things like that. But as I say, this league, because I'm looking to play things a bit slower, I'm hoping it's going to be easier for players with less experience to play along. I'm going to stream on Twitch. We'll bring out daily videos of how I'm getting along. And I'm just going to try and make this more targeted at beginner to intermediate players with content that maybe people who are very experienced in the game aren't interested in. But I'm fine with that. I'd rather help new people or less experienced players than maybe cater to the 2 or 3% who probably know more than me anyway. That's it for the video. If I don't see you in the next month, I hope everyone's getting on okay. Take care and see you in the next one.